it's week 5, right? And we did the show on Saturday night before a couple of top 25 matchups that finished. Catch you up on those so we have some context going into the Associated Press poll rankings in mind. Number 11, Notre Dame stunned number 17, Duke, 21-14. Audric Estime decided to say, you know what? I'm going to help you. And then Sam Hartman said, I'll do it my damn self. And I really loved that. I was having fun watching that game. It's nice to see 17-14 mean something. And Duke go into a game that they felt like they could win against Notre Dame. Wild. Number 20, Ole Miss won a thriller against number 13, LSU, 55-49. It's over 1,300 yards of offense in this game, 706 from Ole Miss alone. LSU led this game 49-40 at one point, and Ole Miss led this game 21-7 at one point. And after all the talk about what Alex Grinch did or didn't do against Colorado, I'm telling you, if that man shows up to his next press availability and says with a straight face, Ole Miss and LSU combined for over 100 points and 1,300 yards, and then walks off, got to respect it. Got to respect it. So that catches us up on what happened on Saturday night. But how do these games impact the rankings, both the AP and my own? So we'll get started taking a look at the Associated Press polls rankings. Really not much movement at all until we get to number 8 here, where Oregon was able to make the jump over USC. Mostly, I believe, on the strength of a common opponent, right? You'll know that USC narrowly escaped Folsom with a 48-41 win against Colorado. That is the same Colorado team that went up to Autzen and got stone cold stunned by the Ducks in Eugene, 42-6. And then, of course, Oregon took care of business. It was wild because it was 14-6 against Stanford to start the second half. And then they decided that they wanted to play a little bit of football against the Cardinal, a team that had put money in the bag against Sacramento State. We're not going to know much about Oregon until they got to play some of these other teams that are ranked in the top 25. Among them, number 7, Washington, who I think is a favorite now to not just win the conference, but to play in the college football playoff for the first time since 2016. And remember, we haven't had a Pac-12 team play in the college football playoff since 2016, and that was Washington. Chris Peterson was head coach, so forth, so on. I'm not so sure that USC needed to drop to 9, but I understand it. You've had 2 back-to-back performances by your defense that were just abysmal, where you had Arizona State in a game with you because the defense couldn't stop them. You had Colorado in a game with you that you led 41-14 because you couldn't stop Shedeur Sanders and a true freshman at wide receiver, more or less making his debut. It's just not a good look. But I'm looking at SC, and I'm looking at Oregon, and I'm looking at Washington. And everybody's got a great quarterback. We know this. Everybody can move the ball offensively. We know this. It's about which one of these defenses do we trust, right? USC goes from being the scariest and most terrifying team in football to me to, okay, one for which if you get into a shootout with them, you got an opportunity to win it. Still don't know much about Washington's defense based on who they have played. And Tosh Lupoi, I know, is a great defensive coordinator. And I know Dan Lanning was a great defensive coordinator before becoming head coach at Oregon. Right now, it feels like Oregon is going to have the best opportunity to show us what they're made of sooner rather than later, because their schedule is going to pick up here in a hurry. Number 10, Notre Dame. Again, I think they deserve this spot. They played 2 of the toughest opponents that we've seen all year in Ohio State and Duke. They were in a game against Ohio State. They lost it controversially at the end, but nothing about their performance led us to believe that it's not a team that could play for the college football playoff. However, you were losing 14-13 to an undefeated Duke that we all acknowledge is good. And you needed Sam Hartman to come up with a QB scramble on 4th and 16 to get you a first down, put you in position to win the football game. Now, on top of all of that, you still got USC left to play. So the only problem that they were going to have to overcome is you can't lose again. We'll let the Ohio State loss slide, but losing to Duke would have definitely put them out of the college football playoff contention. And now you got an SC on your schedule, as well as a few other ACC opponents that we respect, where you could ride this into one loss and sit out the conference championship weekend and slide into that number 4 spot, just like old times at Notre Dame. Number 11, Alabama. They look good against Mississippi State. I understand Mississippi State ain't nobody, but you put up 40, and Jalen Milroe has really solidified his position as their starting quarterback. Defense is still terrifying. That's a Nick Saban defense. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do with it. And the longer that game gets played, the closer it is, the better I feel about Alabama in these closer games. And now based on what I saw from Ole Miss and LSU, I don't know who's going to win the SEC West, man. Like, I thought Alabama was cream of the crop for what they did against Ole Miss, but LSU, it showed at times that they were about it, right? They might be the third best team in that conference. We don't know what Auburn is or isn't. Talking about them in Georgia in a little bit. And we're not really sure what Texas A&M is or isn't. So that side of the conference is going to be a lot of fun. But we're back to just, I trust Alabama before I trust any other head coach in that conference. Number 12, Oklahoma. I'm fired up. Super fired up. Because Sooners 5-0, baby. 5-0. Put up 50 or more in 3 of those 5 games. And the defense is letting nobody score. 5 TDs allowed by the defense in 5 games. They have more interceptions than they have allowed TDs on that defense. And we're not walking into OU, Texas without the starting quarterback. Yes, you're going to hear it from me, but you know what? Don't mind Oklahoma. Again, they're 12 here. Associated Press said, don't mind Oklahoma. It's just the most consequential Red River shootout since 2008. Telling you. We could see not just a college football playoff contender in this game again, but a national title contender in this game again. I'm fired up, baby. The Red River shootout is back, baby. In its last year in the Big 12. Let's get it. Again, you're going to hear more of this because I got a lot of mo. Clubber Lang got a lot of mo for you. We got Washington State here at number 13. Really great week for them, having played nobody at all, but another one of those teams that we got to figure it out. Maybe Pac-12 is theirs, and we just don't know it yet. Cam Ward's having an outstanding year, and Jake Dickert, a defensive coach, has been doing some really outstanding things with that defense as well. Number 14, North Carolina. I thought Oregon State at 15, they might have expected a bigger bump from this, but you beat up on Utah at home without Cam Rising. None of us got a good read on what Utah is or isn't without Cam Rising. We just know that they are 4-1 with 2 ranked wins without the man. They're at 18 there. Duke stays at 19. Riley Leonard apparently suffered a high ankle sprain. Maybe that keeps him out a couple of weeks. Maybe that gets him ready for Florida State, where we can actually get a good read on who this team is a little bit further down the line. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.